Hey, put this on the feeling arrogant, entitled, and thin-skinned highlight reel. And you can subtitle that, Fascism on Parade. California Congressman Adam Schiff is a star again, this time in his curious dance with that blue bird, Twitter. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Here's the story. In his January 13th posts on a recent tranche of Twitter files, independent reporter Matt Taibbi shows that the big government-loving Adam Schiff and his staffers seem so full of love for Schiff, those staffers, and for Joe Biden that they repeatedly contacted Twitter to have Twitter censor humorous posts critical of the aforementioned political powers. Evidently, Mr. Schiff thought that one of the most grievous acts of engaging in comedy was simply a satirical digital image that was put out April of 2020, reworking President Biden's image to make him look like a tongue-wagging cur. Probably didn't take a lot of work. Wrote Taibbi, quote, staff of House Democrat at Adam Schiff wrote to Twitter quite often asking that tweets be taken down. This important use of taxpayer resources involved an ask about a Peter Douche parody photo of Joe Biden. The DNC made the same request. And Taibbi provided screenshots of the corresponding Twitter communications discussing those requests. And as time went on and that spoof tweet got more attention, especially from Donald Trump, the left-wing political pressure increased. Taibbi again cites the internal Twitter messages, and Taibbi notes, quote, the real issue was Donald Trump retweeting the Biden pic. To its credit, Twitter refused to remove it, with Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth saying it had obvious humorous intent, and any reasonable observer, apparently not a Schiff staffer, could see it was doctored. You know, given Schiff's already established facility with fakery and make-believe, remember the time that he made up a transcript? A supposed conversation between Donald Trump and a Ukrainian official that literally never happened? Well, given his facility with fakery, one might think that Schiff and his staffers would actually appreciate a civilian creating a spoof of the real Joe Biden. But of course, that was not the case. In fact, like Schiff did in Congress circa 2019, making up that supposed Trump conversation that never happened, his office also attempted to tell Twitter that tweets questioning the authenticity of the so-called Steele dossier, very strong questions that were quite justified, well, the Schiff team pushed to Twitter the bogus notion that those kinds of posts were QAnon-related activity. Writes Taibbi, quote, even when Twitter didn't suspend an account, that didn't mean they didn't act. Schiff's office repeatedly complained about QAnon-related activity that were often tweets about other matters, like the identity of the Ukraine whistleblower or the Steele dossier. And Taibbi follows up by explaining how, even if not all of the Schiff office's requests prompted Twitter staff to eliminate certain posts or ban users, some were what they called deamplified. Quote, Twitter policy at the time didn't ban QAnon, but deamplified such accounts. About the batch of tweets that included those above, Twitter executives wrote, quote, we can internally confirm that a number of the accounts flagged are already included in this deamplification. But get this, Schiff's office was so concerned about the existence of the minds behind those public critiques that they started revealing their own concern that the deamplification of tweets could actually make it harder for law enforcement to find the people posting the tweets. Writes Taibbi, quote, Schiff's office had a concern about deamplification, though. It might make it harder for law enforcement to track the offending tweeters. Yeah, that of course opposed to Schiff's Ukraine Trump transcript idiocy. That is absolutely for real. I'm not making this stuff up the way, Schiff might. And Taibbi adds the actual words of the Schiff office sent to Twitter. Quote, "We are curious whether any deamplification measures implemented by Twitter's enforcement team, which we appreciate greatly, could impede the ability of law enforcement to search Twitter for potential threats about Misko and other HPSCI staff." And as Roberto Wakerow Cruz reports for the Post-Millennial, quote, "Previous Twitter files by Taibbi showed that Schiff's office sent several communications to Twitter. November 2020, California Congressman Adam Schiff reached out to Twitter to ask them to specifically ban journalist Paul Sperry. Schiff alleged that Sperry, who is an investigative reporter for Real Clear Investigations, had repeatedly promoted false QAnon conspiracies and harassed, name redacted. Which inspires one to observe, so what, Mr. Schiff? Even if those reports were incorrect, if Schiff or someone else believed that they were being slandered or defamed, there are traditional avenues of jurisprudence that allow for lawsuits to prove such a matter. Of course, given Schiff's tenuous relationship with the truth, one can assume there really wasn't a problem with Sperry's reporting at all. There was a problem with Schiff's arrogance and conceit, and more important, with his use of government pressure to try to sway Twitter. Observes Wakerow Cruz, quote, "This reinforces previous Twitter file drops that showed that Schiff lobbied the big tech platform to ban journalists and even ideas," end quote. Politics and social media. And the Schiff highlight reel, it just keeps getting longer. Reminiscent of royalty that's become so paranoid the royalty can't handle real criticism or even the jokes of a jester. Similar, actually, to the offenses of Barack Obama when he tried to use the Espionage Act to threaten more journalists and whistleblowers than all other previous U.S. presidents combined since the Espionage Act was passed in World War I. Yeah, the Schiff skin appears so thin that even if one were to call him see-through, it would be an understatement. Likely the pop media won't ask Adam Schiff about this gargantuan display of entitlement and government abuse, using our tax cash to work on Twitter and massage public images. But as long as his censorious bunch does not take full control of our ability to communicate, and heck, via the FCC, the feds openly have been attacking freedom of speech for a long time, we still have a chance to get out valuable information. Sometimes we can laugh as we do so. Thanks so much for watching. Please take this chance to get out this information if you think it's valuable. Please find us on Rumble. Again, they just updated Rumble. It looks really nice now. Give us a thumbs up. That helps us in the algorithms. And of course, share these far and wide with friends. Find us on YouTube as well, where they do censor us sometimes, and it's extremely frustrating. Find the Facebook group for MRC-TV. Find us on Twitter, on TikTok and Instagram, and on Parler. And remember, if you go to MRCTV.org, MRCTV.org, please consider donating to the Media Research Center, because it's thanks to you that we can look into these things and break them apart and offer the information to people. Monitor the left-wing bias of the pop media. Watch these politicians and their relationships with these media outlets and try to get you the information so that you can be in that battle. Hey, remember, if you want to find me, I'm on Gab at Gardner Goldsmith, and I'm on Twitter as Gard Goldsmith. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.